Hi, Internet viewers. Frank Rauscher again. Just wanted to get you going here. We finished in the last video the face area, and we did the part of the head and the tufts. What we're going to do is we're going to do the bib area in here, what I call the bib area, and then I'm going to also show you what happens in the breast area here as well. So bear with me, and what I'm going to do is bring this down. One of the other discussions I had a couple of people saying they use calipers for measuring sometimes, and that is very helpful. So I like an old dog with new tricks. I use a ruler most of the time. And like I said, I'm trying to get you into the millimeter side of it. But I do understand calipers are very good. If you have them, definitely use them. It's helpful in keeping things right on target. And then another gentleman, I believe it was a gentleman, had mentioned to me about the way birds get grouped and stuff like that, the feather grouping. And what I try to do is I'm trying to establish some reasonable look of like the great horned owl, okay? In reality, birds have so many feathers, you couldn't imagine how many there are. And it would be mind-boggling to try to do. So I sort of pick and choose what I think is going to reflect off of the piece and not the actual bird itself. I try to get as close as I can, but when you're dealing with something about, this is probably, I guess, about 8 inches long, the actual size of the bird could be up to 22 inches long. So we're miniaturizing things, and even on the one I had done here before, if you look at some of the detail in there, I mean, you could go crazy trying to get it in to the piece. So I'm trying to make it reasonable so that if you're starting out, or even if you're doing it for a while, I'm trying to teach you what I know, but it doesn't capture everything, okay? It really doesn't. And I do group feathers to simplify things as you go. This is like, I'm not saying it's a start, but I'm giving you what is out there that will capture these groupings, okay? And in some cases, I guess the way I block this off to get the groupings in, some people thought they were overly exaggerated or something like that. And in a sense, they're there, but feathers on birds are so smooth. There's really, they're indistinguishable. They just roll right into another, and we're sort of exaggerating a little bit. We are, and I'll admit that. And I remember from my teacher, who was Ernie Mulemat, and he used to do that, but it enhanced the look of the bird, okay? And that's what I'm doing a little bit here. I'm taking a little bit of license on actually creating the bird, but we're trying to enhance it to look a little more realistic, even though when you get to a bird, they're smooth as glass, and there's really nothing that is indistinguishable, except for like coloring and the feather changes and stuff like that. So bear with me. I try to give you the best that I could do for the moment, okay? There are, how could I put it? If you go into real competition, I mean real heavy competition like the Ward Foundation show, you've got to turn out some really good products, and as you go up the level, you're looking for perfection. So and the way it looks and stuff like that. So yeah, it's challenging. So I'm not trying to blow your mind on what's there. I'm trying to simplify it, and I'm dealing with, I hope, some people just starting out, and for others, I think there's enough that will pique your interest so that you'll learn maybe a little bit from me. And like I said, you can always learn from everybody. And I know the Ward Foundation had put out some videos with Larry Barth, and I consider him the guy. And if you want to see how you really want to go crazy on how to do a bird, he is the best. And one of them, there's several out there, but I consider him the best. And he gets really intense into it. He makes clay models and then he starts in on it. But he does his homework before he gets there. I'm just, in a sense, scratching the surface to some extent, but not totally. So I'm digging in, but I'm not as deep as you can get. So bear with me for what I'm trying to show you, and I think we'll turn out a real nice piece anyway. So hope you will enjoy it, and we're going to continue on detailing the head, and we're going to do the breast area and so on. So I'm going to give you portions at a time. So bear with me on this. And I'm going to take you down and we'll get continuing on. Okay. Here we go. What I'm going to try to do now is we had in this bib area here, we had this grouping that we burned in, and I was telling you, you really got to get the point up on your burning pen so that you're stroking the lines in almost vertically rather than on a horizontal, just to get it in there. So we came down, just so much, I don't even know how many millimeters that was. I think from the beak down, we came down about 10 millimeters. Well, what I'm going to ask you to do, and I've done a couple beforehand here, I'm putting in a feather a little larger than what we did here, just a hair's breadth. I'm doing these C's, and I'm just coming out maybe about, I would say, leave another ring if it's possible. I'll give you the measurement on this in millimeter. Looks like about 5 millimeters all the way around from this edge in is where I want you to stop, okay? And get these C's in, just like I'm showing here now. Now, what we also want to do here is we're going to burn these in just like these here, but I also want to do some other things here. Some of the feathers in this area right in here that we have on the bird, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to get these pointed. I'm deviating a little bit from the pattern, so bear with me here. These are like little arrows, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. And they go like this, and I'm having them radiate out from the beak, in a sense. So I'll come in here and throw a couple in like here and here, but they're all like sort of pointing towards the beak, just to give you an idea what's happening here. And I'm throwing a couple out here. Notice I don't go all the way out to the end with all of these. Now I'm going to come in and fill the other ones, and I'm going to come right up to this one like this. I'll do another one, just peeks out here. I'm going to come out and do one here, and then here, and I'll get one up here, and we'll put one right in here. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to fill the area up with these pointed feathers, okay? And something like that. Now, let me show you what I want done on that. I'm going to come in with the burning pen. And again, just like we did with the last grouping up in here, I'm going to ask you to come in, and where we have the leading edge again, I'm going to strike down the middle and then go to the left and go to the right. Okay, and then I'm going to do it for this one. So what we're doing is we're expanding a little bit more on this grouping, just to pull it down just a little bit more. And again, I strike down the middle, then I go to the left. And if you notice, I'm burning, sort of plunging in at top, and then I lift as I come out. So that's something you have to practice to get. And I make it look easy. And I'm using only the tip, basically. And I hope you can see this, because it is tiny, but it's not as tiny as the other ones were. And then I'm going to get this one over here. And what my leading edge is the facial lines in the front here where they stopped is where I make my leading edge if you don't have a feather in front of it. And I pan to the right, pan to the left, and again, I know I make this look easy at times, but it's not. You have to practice a little bit. Now, see all these pointed feathers in here? I'm going to come in, and I'm actually going to burn the pointed feathers in this way, the outline. So I'm coming back in here, just like this. There's little ones, and there's big ones. And I'm just burning the outline of them, okay? Just what we penciled in. Now, we haven't done that with these up here, but I'm doing this for a reason. I'm going to show you that next. And if it goes beyond this edge, that's all right too. You know, you can come out a little bit, just a hair more. And I hope you can see this well. I'm trying to stay in focus here as far as getting this in. Because I'm notorious for talking and then walking away from the camera. And Let's see, I think we got one little one down here. So I burned them all in like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my microwave grinder, and I'm going to put the ruby flame in, but you could use the diamond bullet. If you have that, that'll work just as well. And of course, I don't have one in front of me here, but you've seen me use them before. The diamond bullet is just that. It's shaped like a bullet. I have it around here somewhere. There we are. There's one here. It's comes into like a bullet shape, and either one of them would work. I just happened to grab the flame tip ruby here. So I'm going to turn my machine on, and I run it full out. So it could be 45,000. It depends on what your machine is. Some are 35, some are 45. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come along and undercut on the outside of that burn line. I'm going to just undercut each one with the point here to get them raised up a little bit. And I'm just trying to just get a little bit of a lift. So if you have like a millimeter rise and fall in there, that would be great. Doesn't have to be real deep. So what I'm actually doing is trying to give it some dimension on these feathers. Now, here's where, when I was talking earlier on the video here, some people were saying about the way feather groupings are and stuff like that. We do exaggerate a little bit, but it gives it some more realism by lifting some of the feathers. And in reality, bird feathers are so soft that you couldn't differentiate from one to another, and it would be, they're just so smooth, and there's so many of them. We're just taking license to enhance the look of the bird. So I lift it around each one. I got the point of the flame, and if you have a bullet, you use the point, and you just undercut on what would be the outside of these pointed feathers here, okay? Now, what I'm going to do now, after they've been raised, I'm going to come in, because they have a little definition all of their own. I'm going to come in, and I'm going to burn a quill in these, okay? And that means where the V is coming down with a point, I'm going to come right in the middle and stroke a line. And this will be like a quill line, okay? And we're talking real small here anyway. It's not that big. But let me do something here. I don't know if I got that one in there too well. There's another one. Sort of do that and that. There's one there, one there, there. I got these little guys up top, and there's ones in between. Up here. Okay. I think I got them all, almost all. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to burn into towards the quill from that edge where it was lifted. I'm going to stroke it in on a 45-degree angle to the quill, and I'm going to do it on this side too. And you got to use your tip here because it's so small. Now, in some cases, some people don't want to get so detailed as I'm going. You have the choice of just stroking this in like we did these. You know, you could just make a vertical a center line or a quill line, and then go to the left and go to the right. So you have a couple ways of doing this. I'm going to show you how I do it. And I'm burning from the outside in. And what it does, it knocks down that leading edge. And it softens it. And by the time you get to the quill, it should just about have a little marking, okay? And we're going to do this later on. I'm going to show you how I burn from the outside in rather from the inside out. So this does occur in other areas of this bird, so I'm going to show you. And what the reasoning is the raised area that we have, we're trying to soften that so it flattens out. Okay, I think we got a good amount of them there. I'm going to do some over here. Hope you can all see this and I don't drift off the camera again. And this is really tight, so like I said, it's I think I forgot a couple of quills in here. Yeah, down below here. Noticed a couple I didn't get. But some of these are small and some could be bigger. Let me get this one over here. Okay, here. Excuse me. So what I'm trying to do is, by burning from the outside in, like I said before, I'm just trying to lower that edge that we created when we burned them in. See, I'm getting lost in my work here. Okay, I think that covers it. And like I said, if you go beyond the bib, like if I wanted to put one right in here, I could sneak another one in. And I didn't lift it. I can leave that soft and then put the quill in and then just go to the right and go to the left. And you could do that. And I'm going to put one more in. Just slightly past that. And do the same thing again. Give it a quill. And then come from the outside in. And I think that should be a look that we're trying to go after. It's raised a little bit where these are flat. These are raised. Now, the other thing I want to try to accomplish on this video is we need to shape the breast area. There is an indent into the breast area, and here's one that's finished, and this gets a hollow in here, but it's about maybe let's see, it's probably about 4 millimeters deep. So here's what I need you to do. I want you to get from the tail up. I want you to measure just lay the ruler down. I know it's bending and stuff like that. Just look down at the edge, line your 65 millimeters. That's from this 6 and then 5 more right there, all the way up along the center line of the breast area. Okay, this is the breast area, which is what would be not this sheet, but this sheet here. This is your breast area, and right in the middle here, you should have a center line coming up, which is what we established before, which is this one here, and it's coming right on up the center here. And it's the distance out from here to here, and it's the distance out, the midpoint. Midpoint from here to here is there. That's how we established that. So if you lost it, that's how you want to put it back. So I'm asking you to come in 65 millimeters, and that's the way the crow flies, straight at it. And you put an X right on the center line. Then I want you to go from there up again as the crow flies. You're not doing a wrap around. You're just looking down from the X, which are millimeters, and go 65 up to here. And that would put me right here. And I'm going to put an X there on the center line. Okay, so here's the center line. So what we're going to do is we're going to take down this area, and what I'm going to go in with is a typhoon burr. I'm going to get, this is a tungsten carbide bit, and I'm going to stick that in, turn my machine on, and I'm going to start from the X and then transition and get deeper, and then transition out and get shallow by the time I get to the other X. So I lay it right on the line. And drag it up to the other one. Then you want to get deeper right in here, in the middle. And like I'm saying, you want to be able to look down into this valley from the top and get about 4 millimeters in, which is a little more than around an eighth of an inch, give or take. Okay? For those who are doing, there you go. I jumped over a little bit, but no big deal. Okay, so we got that in, and let me just draw this line in like this. Okay, so before we go, I'm just going to bring this out just to transition it so it goes flat up here and meets the surface. So we have it getting shallow at the ends here and not an abrupt stop. So you'll see me do that. But the other thing I want to establish with you is we now have two edges here. So what I want to do with the same bit is to roll this. Just like we've rounded this over this way, I want to go from here and get rid of this edge by rounding it this way. And the same way on this side to round it this way. So like this is rolling this way, this is rolling up around here, and we get rid of that edge. Okay? So let me start by just making this shallow at the end here, just with a light touch like that, okay? And I'm going to do a light touch right down here. Just to transition out, so real light touch. Now, I've got this edge, and I want to highlight it a little bit so you can see it. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get this in here, and I'm going to round this. So that edge comes up and it blends in to the top of this breast. So we have a nice rollout from here. You don't want to keep any edges, so use a light touch out here so it blends back into the body. But you come in and you have a nice roll in and out right in that area. And then you do the same thing on the other side. I get down into the valley, and then I roll up and over to about midway here, from what would be like the wing over to here, from thumb to thumb. You want to sort of roll it so it comes up to there, and then it should be blended off. Now, when you move your piece around, sometimes I'll see an edge. The shadows sort of pop up, and I could still see that. So I'm going to go in and just lightly take it down. I'm not being aggressive here at all. It comes pretty fast, and then I can see that I didn't go in enough to capture some of this right in here. So I'm going to go in and I'm trying to fine tune it to get rid of edges. Still have some there. I can feel them sometimes with my thumb just rolling over it. It should be a nice roll in and out and over. And if you can feel a little bit of an edge, you're not there yet. But it's not like you're taking a lot out. You're really not. It's just, I don't know if I was drifting again. I apologize if I did. I'm trying to stay within the camera range, but I tend to drift at times. So we're trying to get a roll out, over, and it like fades away by here. Same way here. Now, the last thing you want to do before we even try to draw on here is you can hand sand it, or I have these sanders, and these just screw on, and I run these a lot. You can hear I just lowered the speed on it to almost half speed, not quite, and I come in and I sand that out into the valley. And these really save on hand sanding, but if you don't have one, you can hand sand. And I'm going to come in and get that nice roll out. And if you still have an edge, you could sort of soften some of them sometimes, but you want to try to get the edges out of there beforehand. I'm going to come down to the transition area and just trying to transition everything out. I still feel like an edge right in here. I'm going to let the sander try to smooth that out. So this will prepare you, and you should have most of this sanded out before we start drawing, okay? What we're going to do is on the next video, I'm going to start marking out feathers in these groups areas that I have here, as well as the head, and I'll show you how to bring that down, and then we'll start burning, and I'll show you techniques that I want you to do to really detail these. So we will be marking them out, and then we're going to burn them, and we're going to do sections at a time so that I don't overwhelm you with all this stuff, okay? But in this case here, we came in on these pointed ones, and you, like I said, you can come past the bib at line there and put these in, and then burn the outside of them, and then come in with the either the ruby flame or the bullet, whichever one you have, and get in between to get a lift, and then we burn from the outside in. Well, we put a quill in first, and then we burn from the outside in. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. If you got something out of this, I'd ask you to give me a thumbs up. And if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that too. Everything helps as far as YouTube goes. And I hope you enjoyed this segment of it. And we will really start detailing the heck out of this bird pretty fast here. I'm going to give you areas to work on one side. You'll do the other exactly the same way. I'll try to even give you a sampling of what it looks like before, or when you get it done, I should say. So thanks for hanging in there. I'll see you on the next video, and I hope you got something out of this as well. See you on the next one. Bye now.